There we are, folks. I am Kurt Van Onen, your host of the Mañana morning check-in. And I just wanted to say hello and good morning to you today. Today is March 18th, 2021. If you went a little crazy on St. Patty's Day, I try not to yell and scream and shout at you, right? So I hope that you are back at it and just super productive today. Speaking of productive, we are in the middle of the inaugural, I guess. What would I call this? Right, the premiere, the introduction of the Challenge Connection site. Right, so I had a thing that I called Challenge Con. Challenge Con was a 10-day challenge. We are 4 days into a 10-day challenge on how to use the Challenge Connection to build your own 5-day challenge. So I do things like, and I gave everybody the content, right? So the challengers that are in the challenge, they're getting the content, so they don't have to build their own and make their own. Because I noticed that when you try to introduce something like Challenge Connection to people, a lot of people get distracted from, hey, what does this tool do to what am I going to write about? What am I going to do this about? What's my topic? What's my right? And then you get busy dream building instead of working, being productive and learning something, right? And so I learned this trick from the folks at Adobe, right? When you do Adobe Creative Cloud, they kind of force feed you files. They'll say, oh, download these starter files and we'll work with this to show you how Photoshop works, right? And so I gave people starter files on the 5 days to healthy success. And so everyone that takes the 10-day challenge called Challenge Con comes out of this with a pre-built 5-day challenge on 5 days to healthy success. And I think it's going pretty well, right? I'd like to get some more feedback from the challengers that are involved. But basically the way a challenge works is you set this thing up, right? And I say day 1, day 2, day 3. So day 1, here's what we're going to do. And then here's the exercise that you can do as part of your challenge for the day. And then you check off that your exercise is done. The next day, the challenge opens up again and it says, welcome to day 2. Today, we're going to do, this, and this. And then at the bottom, it's here's your activity. Check that off as done, move on to day 3. Day 3, another thing comes up, right? So it's 10 days of this. And so I set it up to be Monday through Friday. So Monday through Friday, and then kind of a weekend to play catch up and play with it a little bit. And I put a nice little activity in there for the weekend if people want to. And then, next week it finishes out. And so what I want to do with you right now is kind of just give you a screen share of kind of what this thing looks like. And I think I'm going to put it on this screen and then jump over to, no, here we go. I think this one. Yeah, right. So you guys should be seeing the Challenge Con challenge, right? Challenge Con. And people would just sign in, right through the front, right? Get more information. Boom. When they click that, they get to the join the challenge page. When they go to the challenge page, they have the ability to see what the challenge is about. And then they can sign up to be part of this challenge if they want, right? And it says join the challenge, right? And you get access to the Challenge Connection plus 30 days for free. You get the starter files to build your own challenge, 5 days to healthy success. You get live coaching sessions, right? And so I'll be jumping in and doing a kind of a Zoom live session and showing people how that Zoom stuff works. And then interactive community, limit of 10 challengers. And this is the early adopter challenge, right? Because this is the first one that we're doing. And then it says join the challenge. When they join, this is basically the steps of our 10-day challenge, right? And so they would go into the first one. And this is the committing with strategy. It talks about being committed to building it and following through on the product, right? I give you an introduction video, and then I start showing you how things work, right? Like how would I start making my own 5-day challenge? And then show people how some different assets work. And then here's the assignment task. And then it says start the assignment. And I already did the assignment, so it says 100%. And then these are the things that I had people do. Pick a topic you would build your own custom challenge with, identify the pain point you are solving for your challengers, break your topic into actionable steps, and then add your answers to the comment thread in this activity. And kind of what's cool about that, and I'll go back to the lesson, boom, is we'll see that Jimmy did that. Jimmy's one of our challengers, and Jimmy jumped in. He was the first one to put in his comment. So Jimmy Curtis on March 15th said, my challenge is to help people start their business plan. Too many people say they want to start a business, but never take action to get one started. I want to make a challenge that gets people to the first steps. And so his idea is for actionable steps for 5 days would be to isolate passions, identify the product or service, filter that product or service into a workable menu, right? Like what can you actually do out of all those things? Reverse engineer the pricing and or production of that product, right? So that he's teaching people how to do a business plan. So he's teaching them, so what would be your product? And then how much would it cost you to make that product? And then calculate the full cost of the offering, right? So how much would you have to charge for that to be profitable? And then explore marketing the product or service. And basically what he's doing is his call to action is telling people to explore the process of starting your own business, and then, explore marketing what that product or service is, and then see if it's something that you want to take the next step with on a business plan. Now, my guess is, I don't know Jimmy personally, but my guess is that Jimmy at the end of the 6th activity there, because one is kind of the starter right off the sales page. So at the end of that 5 days, my guess is Jimmy reaches out to people that have done the challenge and says, hey, what were your results? And are you ready to start making a business plan? And how can I help you with that process? And then Jimmy can build his business on helping startups get started, right? And so that's my assumption. But I like his thinking. He kind of took the data and he did what we said we would do. And then, of course, you can go on to the next lesson, and the next lesson or the next challenge is, today's the fun day, challenge, give you a bunch of content, and this is precisely how I want you to make it feel. And then I give everybody those starter files I told you about so that they can start building out their own thing. I tell them how to download it in this video right here. And so this just plays and tells people what to do. And then again, there is the area for people to put in their comments below. What I like about this platform, and I'll stop the share. What I like about this platform is at the bottom of each activity is the comment section, right? So all of the comments and all of the questions and all of the distractions that come in through a challenge process go into that comment thread for each activity. Whereas if you're doing a Facebook challenge, everything just gets added into a Facebook page, first in, first out, and you lose track on like what someone's even asking. Like somebody might ask a question on, activity 6 for me, which I think is, promoting the challenge, right? Or that might be the one on adding the payment gateway. But then someone could ask a question like, well, how does Stripe work, right? And then you're thinking, well, why is someone asking me about Stripe when someone else is talking about, how to make a video in Loom, right? And so to me, it was really important that as we start making these challenges more and more complicated and more adding more and more value to them, because as challenges become more popular, they'll have to get deeper. And as that happens, I needed to have a platform that would keep things more organized. And so that's what led me to make the challenge connection. And it's going really, really well. Here's what I've noticed. A lack of community or a lack of users within the system can make it seem boring. I shouldn't call my own product boring like that, but I just did, right? If there were 100 people in here doing this challenge right now, there would be more people popping in with comments or putting in links to videos or links to pictures or links to websites that they're working on. Or, hey, can someone tell me what this looks like? And someone tell me what that looks like? But here's the deal. This is our first challenge running through Challenge Connection. And a lot of the people that are in here are already kind of like web people, and they're just kind of sampling the product. So I realized that they might see something, go, oh yeah, I got it. Oh yeah, I got it. And then they're not putting the comments in, right? It's not getting that interactive feel that you really want to have happen. Some people might say, well, how does this replace a Facebook challenge? Well, for one, it does everything the challenge needs to do in its own property, and you don't have to worry about getting thrown out of it. But it doesn't necessarily knock Facebook out. Here's the cool part. If this is your challenge site, you still take like the stellar inputs, or you can copy and paste things or images, or you can take links out of your challenge site and put those into your Facebook page. as like highlights or as bait to get people to go to your challenge page and join that challenge, right? And so I think it's going really, really, really well. I'm saying I'm a lot today. I don't know where that's coming from, but it's there. So let's just embrace that. There I go again. So maybe I just need more coffee. Things are going great. The Challenge Connection is up and running. Power Sports Academy is doing its job. It's helping dealers. I would love to add some dealers to that mix. If you know anyone that owns a power sports dealership and has not yet heard of Power Sports Academy, turn them on to that, powersportacademy.com. And I am here to help them increase their parts and labor business. It's amazing to me. I was just on the phone with a large client yesterday talking about training content for their service division. They have a very large company with a lot of service departments. And I said, look, here's my fear. You know, you guys are executives, you know, you're up here. I'm in the field. I visit a lot of shops. I go to a lot of places, and you're thinking that you need training content that's up here. You know, you're thinking in terms of key performance indicators and driving hours per RO and driving, you know, what's the projected labor rate in this region versus that region. And you're having these high level thoughts, you know, up here. And in reality, there's people in the field that can't pick their eyes up and greet a customer face to face. There are people in the field that, you know, can't write a repair order that expresses the customer's concerns correctly to the technician. There are lots of communication problems out in the field that aren't being addressed because, well, quite honestly, executives are operating at a higher level of communicative thought. So they're thinking in these big, broad, sweeping terms of, you know, spreadsheets and numbers and what these numbers mean. But in reality, to get those numbers, the people in the field need to know how to greet customers, how to treat customers, how to write things up, and how to communicate with technicians in an efficient, effective manner. And then once that happens, you know, then you can start working on like parts fulfillment and different processes within the shop that increase efficiency. And once I share this with people at an executive level and I see the lights come on, it's like, oh, that's it, right? And it's because when's the last time somebody in a blue collar position, even if it's administrative, had any formal communication training? When's the last time, you know, that they'd been to leadership training or been to overcoming objections training or had anybody invest in them in personal development? Hasn't really happened. And let's face facts, you know, there's not a lot of plumbers out there thinking, wow, I'd really like to work on my personal development this year, right? That's not a slam on plumbers. It's just not a normal train of thought. It's just not a normal train of thought, right? So when I think about out here in Southern California, there's a plumbing company that says they're the smell good plumbers, right? Because they realize that, you know, hey, when you show up to someone's house, you should probably not smell offensive. Probably should smell good, right? So they advertise themselves as the smell good plumbers, right? And so I'm working in that space. I'm working in that space that bridges the gap between the reality of what's in the field and what corporate thinks is already a workable thing. And if I can bridge that gap and even things out, then we can take things to the next level and really strive for efficient businesses with high profitability. And I've seen it time and time and time again. When people use our training, when people adopt, you know, the Power Sport Academy mentality and they begin to put this into their business, it's amazing to see what happens in the field at the dealership itself, right? So yeah, the OEM, the overarching corporation that has all these dealerships underneath their belt, yeah, it's great for them. You know, they sell more parts, or they might sell more units, or they might get a bigger chunk of the market share. That's fantastic, right? But when I think about the difference it makes at the dealer level, when you can take a service business and you can increase it by 50, 60, 80%, you know, and add that much in revenue and increase their margins at the same time, it's phenomenal. It's just such a good feeling. And so I really enjoy what I do there. I know that that's a sweet spot. I know it's a niche that not very many people fill. So I just shout out to you again. If you know anybody that owns a motorcycle dealership that is in the market, not even in the market, right? If you know anyone who owns a motorcycle dealership, you make sure they know about the Power Sport Academy and have them look me up and I'll take care of the rest. All right. I'd love to help them out. That's it. We are good to go today. Two big things: Power Sport Academy, Challenge Connection, two and two. Those things are the top of my list. Everything is working great there. And then, like I said, I've got a couple of other clients I'm working with on learning and membership website projects that I'm really looking forward to adding some value to their properties as well. Folks, you have a great day. Oh, now I feel bad. Now I feel bad. One of the main reasons that I waited until 10:30 to start doing this live was because I wanted to make sure I got Tammy Jo Lane's podcast up and ready so that when you saw this message, before you forget, before you go and do anything else, before you get distracted and go, oh, I got to make that phone call, I need you to pound over. If you're watching this on YouTube live, well, then just pound over to Mañana Nomas's video list, right? The playlist, and look at the Kurt interviews, right? I put up Tammy Jo Lane's podcast this morning. I talked to her on Monday. Was it Monday or Tuesday? Anyway, I think it might have been Monday, the 15th, right? So we talked, we did a whole podcast. She's phenomenal. Her energy, her love, her grace, her patience, her desire to help others is phenomenal. And she is really driven towards suicide prevention. So it's one of those great subjects that I think we need to bring more attention to. I know that suicides were up throughout the COVID situation. I didn't want to dive into the numbers too deep with her or get too tied up in like a marketing or an algorithms type conversation with her about suicide. What I really wanted to do was explore a little bit about her background, where the passion comes from, and then give you kind of that anchor spot. If you know someone that is struggling, I'm at a loss for words today. If you know someone that is struggling with these issues or worse, I got to get rid of this today. If you know someone that is struggling with these issues or worse, think that you know somebody that might be, but they're not showing you, they're not telling you. I guess what I'm getting to is a lot of people face these demons and never really tell anybody around them. So this is a good opportunity to just say, hey, I listened to this really good podcast with this lady that helps people with suicide prevention. I think it'd be awesome if you listen to it, right? Not saying that you say, oh, hey, I think your life sucks and you might be taking your own life soon, because that would be a horrible thing to say to somebody. But hey, I heard this really good podcast. I'd love for you to listen to it. And man, if you know anybody that is dealing with these issues, it'd be great if you shared it with them, right? That might be the person that you fear is having that issue without having discussed it yet. And that could be bridging the gap that helps save that person's life. This is a big subject for me. My dad killed himself 3 weeks before my first wedding. So this is one of those things where it does hit home, and I want to make sure that I do the right job and the right promotion and the right message. Like I said, we didn't drill down hard on like numbers and all that stuff. Tammy's a veteran. She's got a great personality. She's full of positive energy, and her message is about, you matter. That's her thing. You matter, and say yes to kindness. And so if you've got a moment, jump on, listen to the podcast, share it, pump it out there. It's one of those that I think is a good way to bring recognition to the subject without being so dark. There we go.